All right, all right, all right. Greetings and welcome back. This is Imuna. Let me try that again. Greetings and welcome back once again. This is Imuna, and I pray everybody is doing well. Yes, 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 indeed. Welcome back once again. Listener, I pray everybody is doing well. The long awaited conversation. I'm going to be reading this book is not going to just be a straight read because we're going to have to get our information from different places. You understand? But nonetheless, we're going to start off with Marcus Garvey in his own words. It's been a wild, crazy day for me, and I'm glad to have this opportunity to come and read so I can just unwind. Today, usually people's like, Amuna, you've helped me so much. Look, today, I need to read today, okay? Because what? You understand what I said? What a day. Anywho, all right, so I didn't have no time to do the whole pre-record. So we're live. You understand? I brought us live for the week. I said go. So before I start into it, just kind of how we broke down a little bit of the psychology, of Bob and Rita through their story. Please don't get offended, people. But Marcus is giving us the information. So what can I do? You understand? The temptation is great. So I'm coming from selective writings of Marcus Garvey. I'm working on getting the other Amy Garvey book because we want to get into that too. So y'all buckle up. All right. It says here, I was born in the island of Jamaica. We know that. British West Indies on August 17th, 1887. Okay. 1887, August 17th. All right. As some people will say, as Rita would say, he was a Leo. All right. My father was a man of brilliant intellect and dashing courage. So he went straight into Pops. He was like, I was born and now this is my father. And this is his thought process on his father. He was of brilliant intellect and dashing courage. He was unafraid of consequences. He took human chances in the course of life, as most bold men do, and he failed at the close of his career. Stick our pin, take our notes, shocking information. Sometimes we skip over this because we see the glimp and the pomp but listen to what he said. He valued his father's intellect and his courage, unafraid of consequences. You gotta weigh them a little bit. And then he said that he failed at the close of his career. And some would say that Marcus Garvey failed at the close of his career, what he personally thought he was going to accomplish, right? With the whole situation we'll get to later. Others will say he didn't fail, he planted the seed. But I find it interesting that he didn't tell us exactly what his father did, but he's saying that his father failed. Then we would have to go look up to see, and I'm probably going to do it to see what his father did. Actually, I think I already did. Stay tuned for that. Stay tuned. He once had a fortune. He died poor. My mother was a sober and conscientious Christian, too soft and good for the time in which she lived. So look at that contrast he just painted for us. This man, we don't know what him do, but him strong and him courageous and him had money, then him lose the money. And the wife, which would be Marcus' mother, was too soft and good. She was the direct opposite of my father. He was severe, firm, determined, bold, and strong, refusing to yield to superior forces if he believed he was right. I think Marcus same take after him father. My mother, on the other hand, was always willing to return a smile for a blow. He said Mom Dukes was turning the other cheek out here, okay? And ever ready to bestow charity upon her enemy. Of this strange combination, I was born 36 years ago and ushered into a world of sin, the flesh, and the devil. That was the intro paragraph for those who just joined us of Marcus Garvey's telling. I mean, I'm going to keep going for the sake of time, but can we unpack? Can we unpack, or is it too early? Greetings and welcome to those who just made it. Is it too early to unpack? Let me keep going. So we know who he's inclined towards. I grew up with other black and white boys. I was never whipped by any, but made them all respect the strength of my arm. So you was Budbok and Doppy Conqueror. Well, go on, yes, Marcus. Marcus said he grew up with black and white boys. Interesting. And that he made them respect him. So him was Bulbok and Doppy Conqueror. What, the original tough gang? Where I say? He goes on to say, I got my education from many sources, through private tutors, 2 public schools, 2 grammar or high schools, and 2 colleges. My teachers were men and women of varied experiences and abilities. My teachers, no, he said that already. He said 4 of them were eminent preachers. It's an interesting mix he got going on there. They studied me and I studied them. With some, I became friendly in after years. Others, I drifted apart because as a boy, they wanted to whip me. Remember, I'm just saying never make nobody whip him, you know. And I simply refused to be whipped. I was not made to be whipped. It annoys me to be defeated. Hence, to me, to be once defeated is to find cause for an everlasting struggle to reach the top. This is important because the way in which he approaches the movement, the way in which he engages the people, the way in which he has the conversation, all has its roots in what he just told us in these first 2 paragraphs, right? He goes on to say, I became a printer's apprentice at an early age while still attending school. My apprentice master was a highly educated and alert man. In the affair of business and the world, he had no peer. He taught me many things before I reached 12, and at 14, I had enough intelligence and experience to manage men. I was strongly and manly, and I made them respect me. Well, Marco said, demand respect. Now, so I never find a Gleaner article. I have to go look for it in a second. Or maybe I have to come back afterwards because there's a Gleaner article where he's first going to England. That is his send-off because he's supposed to be going to university. I had pulled down that article. I just have to double check where it is. Yeah. Hold on one second. I'm going to keep reading. I forgot the date on that. So when he said he went to university, but and there was also like him coming back. So I don't think he wholly finished. I don't think he finished. But I have to double check that. It says here, it said that he was going for his bachelor's. I saved it somewhere. We'll get there. So apprentice master was highly educated and alert man. In the fair business. So at 14, he had enough intelligence to experience to management. So you have to put all of this in the pot. You know why nobody beat him? Question, do you want anybody to talk to you? Do you want anybody to correct you? You perceived your mother being too soft and too weak, right? But your father, you perceived him to be severe, firm, determined, bold, and strong, and not yielding if he thought he was right. Because some people complain that Marcus didn't really want to listen. He had people around him that would only go along with what it is that he was saying, right? They had to agree with him to a certain degree. And he's kind of setting it up for us right here. So you didn't let nobody whip you. I asked, did you let them correct you in any way? He says, I was strong and manly, and I made them respect me. I developed a strong and forceful character and have maintained it still. So clearly at this point, he doesn't see nothing wrong. At 36 years old, when he's writing this, he don't see nothing wrong. What year is this? 1887. And he said he's 36. He sees nothing wrong with being strong, forceful, and bulldozing people over. Marcus was really good. He goes on to say, to me, at home in my early days, there was no difference between white and black. One of my father's properties, the place where I lived most of the time, was adjoining that of a white man. He had 3 girls and 2 boys. So Marcus is around the time, if we want to compare it to Omariah, he's around the same, would have been around the same age, if I'm not mistaken, or a little bit older than City's father. So we saw that Omariah had land. So it's not, and it was in St. Anne. So, it would be interesting to look at how the land was distributed in St. Anne and how so many melanated people, well, the 2 that we know of so far, had possession of land, right? Because Marcus is saying his father had land, and Sedella said her father had land in the same parish. Let's continue. And he says one of his father's properties. So I think it's curious that he didn't tell us what his father did. Anybody know what Marcus Garvey's father did? Greetings to those who just joined us. Yep, he's from St. Anne. It says, he had 3 girls and 2 boys. The Wesleyan minister, another white man whose church my parents attended, also had property adjoining ours. So it looks like Pantu's side, he has European, and his father's property is in the middle. He had 3 girls and 1 boy. All of us were playmates. That's why I'm saying write it down, because sometimes we reach to where we're going, and the answers to why we behave the way we behave in the now comes from then, right? And so him writing this down, thank you. Let's continue. So now I'm a playmate with everybody. He says, we romped and we were happy children, playmates together. But you say happy, Marcus, because you already done tell you, say you make everybody respect you and you use your strength and manliness. So it says, the little white girl whom I liked the most, I'm not going to read too much into that, knew no better than I did myself. What that mean, Marcus? Who you like the most? What's your name? Anyway, we were 2 innocent fools who never dreamed of race feelings and problem. So when they say you like her and 2 innocent fools, that means they did have a crush on her kind of way. What go on, Marcus? What go on? Hold on there. We need our name. What's your name? Anyway. Make we focus. He says, we were 2 innocent fools who never dreamed of a race, feeling, and problem. As a child, I went to school with white boys and girls. Marcus, about the 3rd time to tell you this. You go school with them, you play with them, you run up and down with them, we get it. But how many white boys were there? I'm going to have to look now. He's going to have to make me look at the demographics of this time period, because what I do know about this time period was it was the first time, that 1800 time period was the first time that public school, if he went to public school, did he tell us he went to public school? Was made available, according to the research. He went to 2 public schools, right? So this was the first time that, mass schooling was available. So he's saying, I don't know how much of them was up in there. Yes, anybody, for those in the back, in God school in white and black. That him said. Thank you, Monique. That him said. For those in the back, that him said. So I really want us to know that. As a child, I went to school with white boys and girls like all other Negroes. We were not called Negroes. And I was just about to say, Marcus, you weren't called no Negro back then. I never heard the term Negro used once until I was about 14. At 14, my little white playmate, yo, Regin, yo, me think Marcus are gonna get him like a heartbreak, because he call her a little white playmate, and him. I want him directly a call her out amongst every other body. So me think him kind of inclined towards the little white playmate. Mm-hmm. Him say at 14, cause now you're big now, you're strapped in now, and you have strength, right? At 14, my little white playmate and I parted. Her parents thought the time had come to separate us and draw the color line. That means say 14, you got through change of life now. So what Marcus is giving me the impression without telling me that he was kind of into the little white playmate. We're gonna have to just call her that for now, because Marcus is not giving us any other descriptors. We just have to call her the playmate. Her parents thought the time had come to separate and draw the color line. They sent her and another sister to Edinburgh, Scotland. Yeah, know where she gone, It means saying like a heart crush up there, so and told her that she was never to write or try to get in touch with me, for I was a ninja. You put in the blank. I never put ninja, but I YouTube there. So, ratted. I know that unless little white playmate tell him, say, our parents say, she shouldn't play with him because him is a ninja. How the thing go? You didn't know this? This is interesting. You never think no juice there on a Marcus side? Hey. All right. Jerry says he gonna tell Umar. Look, it looked like Marcus had a little fever, just a slight temperature. He didn't have a whole fever. He had a slight temperature. Okay. It was then that I found for the first time that there was some difference in humanity, and that there were different races, each having its own separate and distinct social life. So when he get him little heartbroken here, say my ninja, he must say, what? And when I take call me? And you take her where him all know we shot she go, Edinburgh, Scotland. So him know we shot them send her too. Marcus. He goes on to say, I did not care about the separation after I was told about it. You cared, Marcus. I'm getting the feeling you cared, because you cared enough to write it down, unless you wanted to put the story in context as to why you became this, advocate for Black consciousness. But of all the melanated girls and of all of everybody that was there, it was the little white playmate that got your eye and caught your attention. Mm-hmm. Me now said no, me just I say it was curious. Just curious. And him say, I didn't care about the separation after I was told about it, because I never thought all during our childhood association that the girl and the rest of the children, you see how she named the girl and their Uno. It might as well just say the girl and Uno. The girl and the rest of the children of her race were better than I was. In fact, they used to look up to me, so I simply had no regrets. What kind of playing Uno was doing? Because the way you're talking, why would you regret? What is there to regret? I don't understand. We need more expound for we, man. Him now go expound, but we're going to keep going. We need names. Thank you. We need name, place. The most we can do, I go try find which at Marcus original property did they, and then me have to go really go in my I Spy bag. Anywho, it can be done. It's just going to take me a little backstory time. Anywho, him say, after my first lesson in race distinction. So what does that also tell us? Not only is that his first lesson in race distinction, it's his lesson in rejection. Because he was, remember, nobody's going to whip you. Nobody's going to tell you what to do. You had more intellect than most men older than you. You had a strong, forceful character. You made people respect you. And here you are in your childhood consciousness growing, and you're rejected by your little playmate. people them. It's said. And that is going to later on affect his relationships, right? His interpersonal relationships, his romantic relationships, his marriages. After my first lesson in race distinction, I never thought of playing with white girls anymore, even if they might be next door neighbor. So I said, done with them. Where? Me not play with them no more, not too bright, and I got done for me. That's all it took, Marcus. The parents were kind of out of pocket. You know what I mean? They could have at least had the conversation, right? Something had to transpire. That's why I think there's more to the story. Something had to transpire. It's like, oh, don't play with that ninja no more. I'm sending you to Scotland. Okay. It says, at home, my sister's company was good enough for me. And at school, I made friends with the colored girls next to me. So where were these melanated girls when you was crushing on your playmate? All of a sudden, them appear. All of a sudden. You didn't know so them sit down next to you. But before them, they never did that. That's why I'm thinking the love of the girl, you know. Don't quote me panic, but the way it read to me. Anyway, he made friends with the colored girls next to me. White boys and I used to frolic together. Marcus. We played cricket and baseball, ran races, and rode bicycles together. Took each other to the river and to the sea, beach to learn to swim, and made boyish efforts while out in the deep water to drown each other. I'm not playing that. Yes, they shipped the Playmate to Edinburgh, Scotland. He could tell us where they shipped it to, but he ain't telling us her name. He's like, I ain't finna tell her your name. But he says now that he's playing with the white boys, he's saying. The European Jamaican boys, okay? And while out in the deep water to drown each other, they're playing. Wow, that's not playing. That's dangerous. Making a sprint for shore, crying out, shark, shark, shark. In all our experiences, however, only one black boy was drowned. Marcus, you need to go in a detail. We can't take this flyover view, man. You have to tell me upon the deer. It was this deer. And me did tell June if he no go there. And then we don't know. Anyway, he went under on a Friday afternoon after school hours. And his parents found him afloat, half eaten by sharks, on the following Sunday afternoon. Since then, we boys never went back to sea. So out there yell shark, shark, and somebody get near by the shark. At maturity, the black and white boys separated and took different courses in life. I grew up then to see the difference between the races more and more. Then I realized that I had to make a fight for a place in the world, that it was not so easy to pass on to office and position. Personally, however, I had not much difficulty in finding and holding a place for myself, for I was aggressive. Marcus, we get it. Marcus said him was the original tough gang. Him is the bullbuck and dopey conqueror. If you not come for him, at what time now? If you not come for him, you not go get where you not come for. And that Marcus said, he want us to know him aggressive. At 18, I had an excellent position as a manager of a large printing establishment, having under my control several men old enough to be my grandfathers. Him like position. You see how him always a class, everybody? But I got mixed up with public life. I started to take an interest in the politics of my country. And then I saw the injustice done to my race because it was black. And I became dissatisfied on that account. I went traveling to South and Central America and parts of the West Indies to find out if it was so elsewhere. And I found the same situation. He goes on to say, yeah, jump over a whole lot, you know, Marcus. A whole lot. We have time. We have time. But it's all right. He goes on to say, I set sail for Europe to find out if it was different there. And again, I found the stumbling block. Because like I said, I gotta find that Gleaner article. He goes to Europe to go to school. He's supposed to be going to school, right? You are black, quote unquote. Really? I read of the conditions in America. I read Up from Slavery by Booker T. Washington. And then his doom, he says, if I may so call it, of being a race leader dawned upon me in London after I had traveled there almost half of Europe. Sorry, through half of Europe. So now he might travel. He might go about the place and he might say, sure. I wonder if him did I look for in Playmate. He's traveling in Europe. And no, he must say, boy, I wonder what me I gonna do in my life. Right? I ask, where is the black man's government? Where is the king and his kingdom? Where is his president, his country, his ambassador, his army, his navy, his men of big affairs? I could not find them. And then I declared, I will help to make them. For those who just joined us, welcome to the conversation. So Garvey has an aha moment, according to him, that this is when he decides, you know what? I'm going to build it. I'm going to make it. Becoming naturally restless for the opportunity of doing something for the advancement of my people, I was determined that the black man would not continue to be kicked about by all the other races and nations of the world. So he didn't have an epiphany at this point, like a religious epiphany, or he's saying basically this was his own ambition, because earlier on he told us he had ambitions, right? And he had to make his way in the world. And now he's saying, okay, well, what is he going to do? And he's identifying the treatment of the melanated person throughout the world as a problem. And he's saying he's going to remedy this problem. He doesn't know how yet, but he's going to remedy this problem. So he's restless. All right. He says, as I saw it in the West Indies, South and Central America, and in Europe, because when he went to when he went to South America and he started like a paper, when he saw the treatment of the people there, he was trying to, whip up the energy so the people can stand up for themselves, The name of the paper escapes me right now, but no worries, it will come back. So where are you? So he says, my young and ambitious mind led me into flights of great imagination. I saw before me then, even as I do now, a world of black men, not peons, serfs, dogs, and slaves, but a nation of sturdy men making their impression upon civilization and causing a new light to dawn upon the human race. I could not remain in London anymore. My brain was on fire. And like I said, me thinking leave school. There I was, a world of thought to conquer. I had to start ere it became too late and the work be not done. I immediately boarded a ship, Southampton for Jamaica, where I arrived on July 15th, 1914. Marcus. What you say? What them did send you over there for again, Marcus? Hold on, everybody. May I go look this thing back up right now. What did they send you over there for, darling? And him say, sure, we're done with this. May I go, right? He had a heartbreak, or some people say it doesn't say heartbreak. He had some rejection, okay? And now he's seeing that this kind of like put a chink in his armor, so to say, right? Because he's not bowing to nobody, according to him, and he's aggressive and he's making everybody get in alignment, and they were able to do this to him. So to think that it didn't have an effect on why now you want to empower the black race, I think they're interconnected, because he even went as far as to put it in the book. Hold on, everybody. I kind of want to just get this thing. I should have had it before. My apologies. Let's see the date. 1914. It was like welcome home. It was either welcome home or here it is. You see that? You see that? All right. I'm gonna show you guys. Do 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 do. Here it is. I know I wasn't bugging. Give me 2 seconds and I will have it on the screen. This is the date on this is, what's the date on this? The date on this is July 11th, 1914. Remember, he just told us that he set sail. I arrived on July the 15th, 1914. Y'all know I like the cross reference now. So let me go ahead and come back over here. And so he left on July the 14th and he says he arrived on July the 15th. And this article is for July the 14th. So let me pull this up and let me share it. Let's read it, shall we? Boom. So it says, Mr. Marcus Garvey, who left Jamaica last year for the purpose, so it would be he left in what year is that? 1913, for the purpose of taking the BA, his bachelor degree at the University of London, returned to the island on Thursday on the SS Treat while in England. Interesting. He just told us he went to England and he was looking around. And so he only went to school for 1 year. Remember, before he told us he went to 2 colleges. So Marcus is like, fire button for this, my gun. Hold on. It says here, where are we? Mr. Garvey studied at Herbeck College and matriculated and is now in the intermediate stage. Does he go back to school? I don't think so. During his stay abroad, Mr. Garvey visited Paris, Madrid, Glasgow, and Edinburgh. Ooh, Edinburgh, and met Sir Sidney Oliver, Lord Balfour of Burlow, and Mr. J. Pointer, MP. Do you guys see Edinburgh? Let me read back Edinburgh again, because that's an obscure place to visit there, Mr. Garvey. That is an interesting place to be visiting. Let's go back. Hold on. Let's go back. Pause, fam. Did the article just say? Let me put the article back up while I'm reading. Remember the Playmate? It says, at 14, my little white Playmate and I parted. Her parents thought the time had come to separate us and draw the color line. They sent her and her sister to Edinburgh, Scotland, and told her that she was never to write or try to get in touch with me, for I was a ninja. Where did Mr. Garvey visit? Edinburgh. If I'm saying it wrong, God forgive me. I'm going to take that off the screen now. I'm going to rest on that one now. I tell you about this cross-reference thing. Hey, history, man, I tell you. It could be a coincidence or maybe not. So your gas school, them send your gas school, Marcus. How old were you? How old were you supposed to be, Marcus? This is, what we say, you're born 1887. Let me do my calculation. Well, on the Marcus. This year is 1914 minus 1887. At 27-year-old, you go to Europe, you do 1 year, because the article said, this is 1914, he left Jamaica last year for the purpose of taking the BA degree at the University of London. And he returned to the island on Thursday. I have to double check and look at his name is probably on the manifest for the SS Trent. right? So he leaves, according to them, and he arrives in 1914. When does Marcus tell us? I arrived on July 15, 1914. Cross-reference. It checks out. What was you been doing in Edinburgh, Marcus? Was you looking for your Playmate back? The Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities Imperial League was founded and organized 5 days after my arrival, with the program of uniting all the Negro peoples of the world into one great body to establish a country and government absolutely their own. So what we're to believe, though, is he trained as an apprentice. We see he liked writing. So he trained as an apprentice, a printer. He gets some education. He does travel through South America. Then he decides that he's going to go to school. He goes to England. But for whatever reason, he's not seeing what he feels he needs to be seeing in England. Okay? And a year later, he comes back to Jamaica after visiting Scotland. I don't know who him could have visited there, but it could be somebody. No, he's in school in London, but why is he going specifically to that location? He went to Madrid, he went to Spain, but he specifically went to the location. Remember, he told us here. The Gleaner didn't tell us. He told us where the Playmate was. And now the Gleaner is telling us that he traveled to the area where the Playmate, I don't think that's a coincidence, because there's a lot of places he could have traveled. And it may have been his curiosity. He may have gone looking for her. Who knows? Who knows? I think he was a little bit hurt behind the situation, but that's just me. I'm going to come read the comments in a second. It says, where did the name? So he decides to leave school, evidently, because on his way back, he's like, you know what? I'm going to have to do something because this ain't it. So he decides that he's going to start an organization. 5 days after he arrived, where did the name of the organization come from? It was while speaking to a West Indian Negro who was a passenger on the ship with me from Southampton, who was returning home to the West Indies from Basuto land with his Basuto wife. What time are we on? That I further learned of the horrors of the native life in Africa. He related to me in conversation with such horrible and pitiable tales that my heart bled within me. Retiring from the conversation to my cabin all day, and the following night I pondered over the subject matter of that conversation. And at midnight, laying flat on my back, the vision and thought came to me that I should name the organization the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Community Imperial League. That was a long epiphany, son. I have named many things in my life. I promise you I have. And it's difficult sometimes to like something to, that's a long, you know, I said, you know, me should I name it? The Universal Negro Improvement Association. That's a long, that's a long name. Such a name, I thought, would embrace the purpose of all Black humanity. Thus, to the world, a name was born, a movement created, and a man became known. We're going to stop there. Y'all thought this wasn't going to be juicy? Marcus got some stuff to tell us. We're going to stop there. I'm going to come to the comment section. You guys are going to share your thoughts, and then we're going to boogie and come back next time to learn more about the shocking history of Marcus. I think, you know, he got something to tell us now. Yeah, I'm early today. Shout out to everybody who just joined us. I had to come on early today because I'm going to be resting up a little later. And so I said, let me pop on here early. Beverly said you have a gift of a detective. I saw my mind work. It'd be like, doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. Wait a minute now. What did you just say? Marcus didn't see. I don't know who he was looking for. He said that, you know, it was the way he told his story. I didn't tell the story. He told the story. He wasn't inclined. He played with everybody, but he was inclined toward the Playmate neighbor girl. And it was when the Playmate neighbor girl left that he played with the other colored girls in his class. I found that curious because they was there the whole time. What if the reason he came back is that the girl was not there or married? That's a possibility, because the parents sent her off. By this time, if they're playmates, she's in her 20s, and more than likely she's married, right? Like, you know, I'm a gun. With Aunt Jerry said, we know what you did last summer. Okay, thank you. I like this. Marion in the comments. I like this. I like this. Because if I had time, you would have done 500 miles from London to Edinburgh. That's a far travel. How far from London to Paris? Because he went to Paris too. Let's put it up and see the places he went. Come on, everybody on the channel. Y'all detectives out here. How far is it from, how far is it from, where did he go? He went from London to Paris, to Madrid, to Glasgow, and he went to Edinburgh. So he went to those 4 places. So he went on a mission. Where were you going, Love Bunny? Where were you going? I know it says that he met some other people on his travels. And I would look up who Sir Sidney is. Sir Sidney Oliver, Lord Balfour of Burleigh, and Mr. J. Point. I will look them up. I was reading, this is the beginning of the book. So in this particular book that I have on the screen, The Selected Writings of Marcus Garvey, is actually page 1. Yeah, but that time, I think he would either be going by railroad. At this time, it's 1914. I don't know if they had a railroad or if they had overland, but he definitely would be going overland at 1914. Abuni said, "Me glad me never go to Amazon swiftly. Me have the book already." Yeah, that's how sometimes you be like, "Wait, me have that book there." Yeah, you have the book on your shelf. Sister Hulda, welcome. You already know we about to wind down and rest up. You know what? Go already. Let's see. I love how you humanize these people with the little remarks. Yes, they are human. They're human. And I think the human side, he didn't even tell us what his daddy did, but he went into his little playmate for like 3, 4, 5 sentences. You have to pay attention to what people put accent on. He went into telling us where she lived and all of this. That means she meant something to you. And you were 14 by this time. You had a little feelings. You had some feelings, bro. You had some feelings. It says here, let me see here. Maybe she was easy to find. We don't know, because he knew exactly where they sent her. That makes me figure, how did you hear? I just got so many questions, Marcus. Don't let me start asking all these questions. Don't make me start asking all the questions, Marcus. Let me go up here to the top here. I don't know. That's what Monique says. Were they white? He keeps calling them white. He keeps calling them white and black. I don't know if they were brown. The only way I could substantiate that, or anybody looking for this evidence, would have to be, I would suggest this. I just didn't have the time today, right? But for me to confirm, I would have to find the father's name, find the father's property, find who was adjacent to the property, and then find any type of marriage, usually marriage certificate, any type of thing that would indicate what they were. You know what I mean? That's how I would go about it. But that's a long, arduous process. At this point, I'm gonna roll with him for right now and saying that they were European, right? And that they called him. I think he felt a way. I think he felt a way when they called him a ninja, because he even wrote it. He wrote it. So even though he's telling us, I didn't feel a way, it says they sent her and another sister to Edinburgh, Scotland, and told her, I mean, somebody had to tell you what they told her, that she was never to write or to try to get in touch with me. So remember, he said he defiant. You can't tell him what to do. You can't tell him what to do. He's going to do what he want to do. Oh, I can't get in touch with her? Okay, wait. So they said, never to try to get in touch with me, for I was a ninja. And it was then that I found for the first time that there was some difference in humanity. So he tells us where it is. One of my father's properties, the place where I live most of the time, was adjoining that of a white man. He had 3 girls and 2 boys. The Wesleyan minister, another white man whose church my parents attended, also had property adjoining ours. And I would actually have to look that up. But again, like I said, that's going to take time. I put the link in the box if anybody would like to share any thoughts. If not, we're going to wrap it up. We have 45. This is the introduction to the shocking history. Somebody said Umar would be like, what? I know people grow. Yeah, I mean, this is the beginning. Even Malcolm X in the beginning, he was out there. You know what I mean? This is not as out there as Malcolm X's story, but it did show a little inclination. It did show a little inclination. I would say that, a little inclination. Let's see here. Do. Monique said, was he writing the Dear Juvie letter? Yo, after this Bob Marley and Rita series, yo, I have mad jokes that just live in my mind now, yo. I don't see stuff the same no more. That's hilarious. He couldn't even write the Dear Juvie letter because they already told him, don't you try it. You know what I mean? So she probably was I think they were love struck or teenage love or whatever. Okay, so thank you, Marion. Lord Balfour was a politician in the House of Lords 1876 to 1921. Thank you. That's for everybody who just joined us. We're trying to see who he was meeting. And even more importantly, why was he meeting them? The fact that they tell him not to write indicates there was a special relationship. Yes, special. I like the way you put that one there. I think so. I think it was a special relationship. I'm curious why Marcus deliberately omitted names and timelines in his journal. I know he did. He sure did. He didn't want us in his business. He's like, me now I gotta tell them too much, before they go dig up my business. He barely gives us dates. He didn't, so far we don't have a name except for, we don't even have his daddy name. Like, I was born such and such and my father's name was such and such. We don't have his father's name. We don't have his father's occupation. We don't have his mother's name. We just have their attributes. And we have him being very strong and forceful, and him making everybody bow down when he came to their town. Okay? So that's very curious. So with that said, let me see what else we have here. There's a possibility. Yeah, we don't know what. Monifa says you never know what the little girl said, or that they were watching, or that people around were watching, because now they're not little anymore. They're big and they're growing, right? So maybe their fear was, oh, no, you're not, sir. You know what I mean? No, you're not about to do whatever. So maybe they preempted it and felt a kind of way. Cynthia says, I'm just thinking if they had been in the South like Georgie, yeah, exactly. Marcus at 14 the story wouldn't have went like that in America at that time. You know what I mean? And so even when he comes here, I don't think this is also important for us when we're looking at when he comes here, because he's looking through the lens of how things were in Jamaica. And we already just went over colorism in Jamaica and kind of the foundations and how Jamaica wasn't set up like America. He's not really understanding that it's not that type of party here. So even in the book later on, when everybody's like, yo, he's really wilding, when he goes, I think the letter to the Ku Klux, when he goes and sits down with the Grand Master, I think, of the Ku Klux Klan, the people are like, what are you doing, Sir Marcus? What are you doing? What are you doing? I think I have, wait. Okay, the preface in the book gives us a little more. Let me do the preface in the book real quick, and then I'm going to wrap it up about that part that we just read. The preface in the book says, born August 17th, 1887, Garvey grew up in St. Ann's Bay, Jamaica, because Garvey only tells us he grew up in Jamaica. It says he was an ambitious, bookish boy who scarcely knew there was such a thing as racial prejudice until he was 14. He just told us this. He became a printer's apprentice in 1901 and left school around 1903. After moving to Kingston in 1906 to work as a printer, he became active in the Printers Union. He started his first very short-lived newspaper when he was 21 and left Jamaica soon after in 1911 for Costa Rica and Panama. So this is the preface giving us what Marcus didn't give us, okay? So he moves to Kingston and then he goes to Costa Rica and Panama, where he edited newspapers before returning to Jamaica. He sailed to England in 1912 to further his education and took classes at Birkbeck College in London. And we just saw the article, right? It says after travels through Western Europe, he returned to Jamaica in 1914 with a new purpose inspired, he said, by the American Booker T. Washington Up from Slavery. Through his book, he says, my doom, if I may call it, of being a race leader dawned upon me. Upon arriving in Kingston, Garvey immediately founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities Imperial League with the program of uniting the Negro peoples of the world into one great body to establish a country and government absolutely their own. So that gives a little bit more of the dates and the times, and yeah. Okay, Rasta in the City says he also mentioned his father was a stonemason. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I have to look for that part, but thank you for that. I'm thinking, okay, we read that part. Yeah, he's holding some things back. He's not fully disclosed. Sister Hulda is saying that it's a setup because he has some secretiveness on his enterprise. He's not fully disclosing certain things, and he's telling us his personality. How was it to deal with a person like him, right? As a leader. His father was a stonemason named Marcus. Yes, Marcus, and his mother was Sarah Jane Richards. Correct. And I believe I have that information that next time I'm going to be more prepared. And so I'll have that information to kind of share. It's just a lot of stuff in my mind right now. And so, yeah, you don't know already. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Wait. We can't go away yet. Voila, I'm not going away yet. We're going to run Island Twist and then we're going to wrap this one up. I will be right back. And shout out to everyone who has supported Island Twist. You are much appreciated. And I hope this story has been as much a blessing to you as it has been to me. I'll be right back. Island Twist follows Jackie Brown, a young girl who finds herself head over heels for the new island boy at school in fresh outer yard, and Jackie has the fever. But as she navigates the ups and downs of her new crush, things quickly spiral out of control when her not-so-secret admirer becomes determined to sabotage her relationship. So check out the new novel, Island Twist, over on Amazon today. Now back to the story. So, yeah, I just wanted to say, all due respect, y'all already know, we engage in the material. It was just interesting to see that possibly Marcus spun the block. You know what I mean? He was spinning the block trying to find his playmate, possibly. And that he doesn't finish his course by what it appears, and that he finds his way back. And in his travels back is when he decides that he's going to start this very now famous, world-renowned UNIA. So we're going to pick up next time. I'm going to get some more supporting evidence when we come back next time, to go over some of the stuff that we talked about here. And then we're going to continue with the conversation. All right. So with that said, everybody have a blessed day. And if any questions, comments, or concerns, drop it in the box below. All right. 1.